Marge cleaned the whole house in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Perhaps because she was too focused on cleaning, she didn't notice that Maggie was missing. It turned out Maggie was inside the vacuum cleaner. Family received an invitation from a spa center. The spa has a special area for face masks. No matter how saggy your face is, it can be made smooth here. Bart wanted to go to a water park, but the staff had prepared a special cartoon massage for them. Not only does the spa offer physical therapy, but it also provides Chinese-style backstepping. In addition to massages, the spa also offers yoga classes. Homer met Wally while in the sauna. He didn't expect a big star would be here. A sneaky man entered the sauna, turned the temperature up to the maximum, and locked the door. Someone passing by opened the sauna door and immediately saw Homer, severely dehydrated. Homer chose to call the police. Clancy assured Homer that they would catch the culprit. Clancy immediately thought of a pervert. Marge didn't understand why solving the case required bringing the kids along, but the kids weren't too worried about it, as they considered anyone who could be their enemy. Clancy questioned Bob about the killer. Bob said he needed to investigate first, so he stayed at the Simpson house for a day. Bart was the first to disagree, thinking it was like letting a wolf into their home. Clancy told Bart to relax. Clancy had an electronic ankle bracelet installed for Bob and handed the remote control to Bart. Homer also planned to give it a try. Bob wanted to know who Homer's enemies were. Bob intended to learn more about the killer and planned to live with Homer for a day. While at the supermarket, Homer's car was hit.
Well, we've settled that argument. You can't read a magazine and drive.
Bob decided to set a trap. Who could have such a big grudge against Homer? Bob thought his plan was perfect. Homer was worried that Bob might get too arrogant, so he had Bart press the shock button on the ankle bracelet. Killers usually strike at night, and Homer didn't expect it to be Moe. He thought the case was solved, but it turned out there were more people who disliked Homer. Killer failed several times but never gave up. This time, the attack hit the jar of pickled eggs. Bob found a fingerprint on the letter, which was likely left by the killer. Bart was always on guard against Bob. Marge said that if the case couldn't be solved, they might as well send him back to prison. Bob was sure the killer would strike again, so the best solution was to hide for a while. However, Homer was chosen as the king of Carnival at that moment. Bob knew this was a trap, but Homer still insisted on attending. On Carnival Day, Homer arrived at the scene. Homer had assigned a few spies to watch. During the entire parade, the actor Bob noticed the issue first. The float was moving, but there was no sound of an engine. Clancy explained that they had hired a really skilled mechanic for this. Bob immediately recalled the invitation letter. He had figured out the killer's plan. The culprit had cut the float's brake line and planned to make Homer fall to his death downhill. Using the cannon on the float, Bob successfully saved Homer, but the killer was still determined to continue the chase. To catch the killer himself, Homer planned to use stilts. The two of them eventually cornered the killer in a dead-end alley. The killer finally stopped hiding his identity. It turned out he was Little Frank, the son of Homer's colleague who had gone mad because of Homer. Homer's crisis was resolved, and Bob lost his purpose, but Bob had finally been released from prison. Although Bob was wearing an electronic ankle bracelet, he had already taken the remote control. Bob was ready to kill Bart, but when the time came, he realized that he couldn't bring himself to do it. In the end, he decided to let Bart go.